Welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 455. Good Friday, everybody. Welcome to the JP8 Report. Man, I tell you, when I came on at 5:30, at 6:30 this morning, my time, breaking news. Like, oh my! It was like within 30 minutes or so. It was wow. It was crazy, right? And then I got more breaking news after I did the show prep for this one right here. I'm like, man, it doesn't stop. Okay, but we'll get to that. I tell you, when I say loose lips sink ships, I mean it. If you were reading the New York Post a little while ago, you know what I'm talking about. The breaking news, big time for the business side of the United States, is the monthly unemployment report came out. And, it's truthful now because President Trump got his hands on it and said, you only give us factual data, good or bad, factual data. So we lost 23,000 jobs in the month of July. Only 23,000. Not bad. Unless you're one of those 23,000, right? And then the unemployment rate dropped from 4.2% to 4.1%. The lady I was listening to on Fox News a while ago said it was a 54-year low in the unemployment rate. So take it with a grain of salt, right? All right. So welcome to the JP8 report. Click that bell if you want to be a follower of the JP8 report. You click the bell and you scroll down and you click the word follow. All right. And then right beside it, you'll see that thumbs up button. That's your like button. Please click that for me. And then get in there and chat. I'm the only one in the chat room right now. Please engage us, right? All right. So got that all out of the way. So let's do America 250. I have a very short letter from General Washington to Brigadier General William Livingston. Sir, before this reaches you, you will undoubtedly have heard of the unexpected arrival of the Carolina Army on Staten Island, which added to the Hessian and former troops under Lord Howe exhibit a force of just alarming. When I compare to which we have to oppose them, I cannot help feeling very anxious apprehensions. The new levies are so incomplete, the old regiments deficient in their complement, and so much sickness that we must have an immediate supply of men. I have therefore wrote to Connecticut and to the convention of your province to call the militia immediately, but as it may take some time and the necessity admits of no delay, I have thought it proper to apply to you under the resolution of Congress last June, copy with which I sent you when Lord Howe's fleet first arrived, to beg you to use your utmost exertions to forward this to the necessary measure. The consequences of the American interest and of any failure here are so obvious that I need not enlarge upon them. Your own good judgment will suggest everything proper. It would be a great saving of time and expense if the militia, when they come, would always equip themselves with arms, ammunition, blankets, canteens, and kettles as far as they can, and in any order given on the present occasion, I would wish you notice it especially. I am with much truth and regard, sir, your most humble, obedient, and very humble servant, George Washington. So they need reinforcements, and not only do they need reinforcements, they need those reinforcements to bring all their supplies with them. All right. Good point. Anytime I went anywhere in the Army, I always took my stuff with me. So, good point. All right. That's why he's George Washington. All right. So, next is the armament shop. Whether you're looking for your first firearm, upgrading your setup, or need expert service, Jason at the Armament Shop is Copper's Cove's premier source for all things shooting. Browse our wide selection of pistols, rifles, and shotguns backed by top-tier gunsmithing for repairs, along with reloading supplies and professional cleaning to keep your firearm in peak condition. Need a transfer? We make FFL transfers fast, easy, and affordable. Need your CHL? Jason can handle those classes. He has over 3 decades of experience. Visit the Armament Shop today at 115A West Avenue D in Copper's Cove, or call or text 254 560 2023, or visit www.armamentshop.com. That's www.armamentshop.com. The Armament Shop, your safety is our priority. All right, I'm back. And I'm ready. The Iran update. All right, so as of this morning, and I just saw it on TV, no deal yet, but maybe soon. All right, and like I said earlier, we ain't playing Lucy here. We just need an agreement. And what they were talking about in the agreement between Iran and Oman was that the ingress, the intake into the Persian Gulf for the oil and cargo will be the responsibility of Iran, and the outflow coming out of the Persian Gulf is going to be the responsibility of Oman. Okay, but they need to finish up this agreement. I don't know what's taking so long, but they are. And then you have the parliament saying that the U.S. and Israel should not be party of any part of coming in and out of the Persian Gulf as it is. So there, I don't have the warmest of feelings about the whole thing. All right, but we'll see. 2 IDF soldiers were killed by Hezbollah yesterday, and then the Israeli Defense Forces retaliated with airstrikes against the area. Houthis attacked 2 Saudi Arabian oil tankers, and the Houthis also wounded 7 Saudi soldiers, 2 Egyptian soldiers, a Yemeni soldier, and a Pakistani soldier. They're part of a joint force trying to keep the peace. All right. Israel and the United States completed another test of the Arrow missile test system. And then, like I was saying yesterday, the IRGC commander, General Vahidi, says Iran will continue to pursue nuclear weapons as long as the U.S. and Israel possess them. All right. So the Dow Jones, it'll probably drop, but we'll see. It closed yesterday at 53,885.10. It was a drop of 464.02. I said that because the unemployment report wasn't as favorable as they wanted. So, but we'll see. It opens up in 20 minutes. West Texas Intermediate. It is currently at $77.08 a barrel. Brent crude oil is at $82 a barrel. So that is your Iran update. We'll go into our announcements. First one is Copper's Cove Conservative Club. We will meet on Tuesday, August 11th at 6 p.m. at Giovanni's Restaurant in Copper's Cove. All Republicans are invited. We will have Sheriff Scott Williams as our guest speaker. He will be speaking on methamphetamines and fentanyl abuse in Coryell County, along with the fight against it. Next is the Coryell County Republican Women Boots and Bling, the 3rd annual Boots and Bling. It will be held at the Texas Station Event Center in Gatesville. Tickets are $50 a piece. We will be having a fajita dinner from El Tapatio in Gatesville. The guest speaker is special advisor to Governor Abbott, Steve Munisteri. You can click on that QR code to get your tickets for it, but it'll be 6 p.m. on the 22nd of August. Our next announcement is on the 27th, as you are, the 29th of August. I don't know why I wrote the 27th. Oh, okay. Never mind. Okay, this is Cordell County Republican Party Patriot Range Day on the 29th of August up in Gatesville at the Holly Gun Range. $20 to shoot as much as you want between 10 and 5. Come on out, have some fun, shoot some weapons. We're going to have some special weapons out there to fire also. All right, the next one is this one. I think I'm going to have to rearrange my placards. Here is the 27th of August at Rancher Steakhouse in Gatesville at 6 p.m. is Pints and Politics. All right. So that just like the Pints and Politics I went to yesterday, which was awesome because I got to MC it. It was fun. But yeah, so Pints and Politics in Gatesville at Rancher Steakhouse, 6 p.m. on the 27th. And then for our final announcement is on the 26th of September. We have Cordell County Republican Party's annual fish fry at the Texas Station Event Center in Gatesville. As you know, catfish, fries, stuff like that. Senator Pete Flores from Senate District 24 here in Texas will be our keynote speaker. And then we will also have the RPT chairwoman, Dorinda Randall. She will be speaking also. If you want tickets, then those tickets are $35. If you want tickets, go to the description of the podcast. Good morning from West Virginia. Good morning, Scott. If you're watching right now, put an American flag in the chat for Scott Scrabe, a real good friend from West Virginia. All right. But if you want tickets to go to the fish fry or the boots and bling, if you go to the description of the podcast, you will see two hyperlinks in there. One for the fish fry, one for the boots and bling. Click it on there, and you can buy your tickets. All right. So let's get to the JP8 report. So I had breaking news this morning with wait a minute. I told everyone to put American flags in there for Scott because I don't have a West Virginia flag emoji. So we'll go with with the American flag. So there we go. That's for Scott. All right. So this morning I was talking about breaking news was when Lisa Murkowski said she will not support President Trump's nominee to be Attorney General. She's a Republican. What is going on? She wants to thumb her nose. She didn't do this stuff with Joe Biden. She hates the president so much. She has TDS. That'd be Trump. Oh man, I forgot what TDS stands for again, but I don't care. She just hates the president. Hates the orange man. But so this morning, she announced at 5 a.m. Central, which is 6 a.m. Eastern, right? In Scott's world, it was 6 a.m. He was probably sound asleep. But she announced that she cannot support Todd Blanche to be the next Attorney General, which leaves a cushion space of one vote. And that one vote is Bill Cassidy from Louisiana. They do not know how he was going to vote. And then you have one other vote out there, and that's Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell's at home, I believe, in Washington, D.C. He's out of rehab. If Bill Cassidy says he is going to vote no, and we know that if Mitch McConnell's a yes, because I'm pretty sure he's a yes on on Todd Blanche, right? if I was John Thune, I would take a vehicle to Mitch McConnell's house and get him to take the ride to the state capitol, put him in a wheelchair, and wheel him down to the well of the Senate so he can vote yes. And then come in there with the vice president, the vote aye, and have him confirmed. That's what I would do. All right. But we have these turncoat senators and a spineless majority leader in the U.S. Senate that don't know how to conduct themselves. They were elected by Republicans in their state, and the same Republicans voted for the president, and they don't want to support our president. And Lisa Murkowski is a whole different world. Okay, she's a nepo baby. She's been in the Senate way too long. After her dad was forced to leave because I think he died, but she became the U.S. Senator there, right? And she's instrumental because she knew she was going to get beat because she thumbs her nails at Republicans so many times. She instituted ranked choice voting in Alaska. If you don't know what ranked choice voting is, a very anti-democratic method of getting someone elected. Where if you have an election and nobody gets 50% or greater, instead of having runoff, you do this ranked choice. So when you go in there initially vote, there's a question like if you vote and nobody gets 50%, what's your next choices? Okay, and then it goes like 3 rounds, and then the final person wins. Right? She did that. Nobody likes it, and the ramifications of doing that because in 2022, in the first election that had the ranked choice voting, Sarah Palin won the race to be the next congressional representative from the state of Alaska, but she didn't have 50%. So they had to go into ranked choice voting, which caused the Democrat in the 3rd round to get elected. And then her name's Mary something, right? Novalich or something. Well, she lost in 2024, so we got a Republican back in the seat, right? But what did she do? When you smell blood, sharks circle, right? Same lady, same Democrat, is now running for the United States Senate. And it threw the Senate race in play. It should be lean, hard Republican, but see what we do, get your 2nd and 3rd order of effects. So, oh yeah, I have to leave like 8:50 because it's Friday. I had to go to morning breakfast with a bunch of friends. Just so you know, derangement. Thank you, Scott. Trump derangement syndrome. There you go. Thank you very much, man. Take everything bad I've ever said about West Virginia. I promise. All right. So Lisa Murkowski announced that she would not support Blanche's nomination to the nation's top prosecutor. I can't believe I did that. And saw top prosecutor, law enforcement official dealing another blow to his rocky confirmation process. Her defection, despite a heavy lobbying effort by Blanche that saw him make the trek to Alaska, means that Senate Republican leadership cannot afford to lose any more votes to get him across the finish line, given that Mitch McConnell, though now back home, still has not returned to the Senate. Hold on just a second. No big deal. Murkowski acknowledged Blanche's visit to Alaska and heavy lobbying effort throughout the last few weeks, but it's his connection to President Trump, a nearly $2 billion anti-weaponization fund, and broader concerns about a weaponized Justice Department that proved the nail in the coffin for her. I'll say one thing about that weaponization fund. The only thing it was for is for people that was wronged by the federal government in the court arena. That's what it was for. It seems like the goose is not it's for the gander because of all the senators that were able to get up to $500,000 restitution for having their phone records seized. So you can be wronged in the Senate or in the House, you can get compensated for it. But if you're wronged as a civilian, you get thrown back out to the wolves and told to go back to work. All right. So she said the politicization, even weaponization of the department did not start with this administration, but has accelerated during it. Murkowski said in a statement, I take issue with the handling of the release of the Epstein files. The sweeping immunity, yeah, he wasn't the attorney general when that happened. Pam Bondi was. The sweeping immunity protections granted to the president, his family, and their businesses, that was reversed also. The statements that have been made, the statements that have been made to anti-abortion groups because she's pro-choice, not pro-life, and the repeated targeting of individuals ranging from former administration staff to sitting U.S. senators. If you're not worth it being elected, you don't need to be in office, i.e. you, Ms. Murkowski. I am also keenly aware that the department's nearly $2 billion slush fund, which likely would have rewarded January 6 protesters, is only off the table because his nomination is pending and the Senate has leverage. She continued, once we vote, that will end and there will be no telling what the future holds. They promised and they put it in writing that it would not be revived. You can call the president a liar all you want, but he's telling you the truth. To Murkowski's latter issue, several lawmakers in both sides of the aisle acknowledged that through Blanche and the Department of Justice agreed to permanently rescind the fund in writing to Tom Tillis and John Cornyn, there's nothing stopping Trump from reviving it. Even Congress can revive it, but the president said they would not. And he's on several occasions made clear he wants to see it come back. That was only if they would not approve him to be the U.S. Attorney General. Before making her decision, Trump took a snipe at her during an interview with Punch Bowl published this morning. Who even reads Punch Bowl? I'm against Murkowski. I do more for Alaska than any president in history. No president's done more for Alaska than I've done. She's no good. And he's absolutely correct. She's corrupt. She's a Nepo baby. Meanwhile, it's unclear whether the Senate will actually vote on Blanche on Friday, which would be the upper chamber's grand finale for the summer before it exits Washington, D.C. for the remainder of August. And there's still one more Republican that hasn't weighed in on how they'll vote, Senator Bill Cassidy. If he defects and McConnell's still gone, it will be a 50-50 vote. This means the vice president would need to break the tie, but for now, only Murkowski, Susan Collins are the publicly opposing Blanche's confirmation. The country needs an attorney general who will. That's wrong. Who wrote this? Alex Miller. I cannot believe she did that. Because it should say, if he defects and McConnell's still gone, it'll be a 50-49 vote. That means the vice president would need to break the tie. He can't. Okay? That's why they need Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell would need to make the trip to the Senate to make a vote affirmative for Todd Blanche, and then the vice president would make the tie-breaking vote to make him the next attorney general. Wow, found a mistake. And I've already been over this like twice, right? Wow. I found a mistake from Fox News, really. So, please, Ms. Murkowski, you're a lazy, worthless piece of political trash. You're a Nepo baby. You should already be retired. You're a turncoat, brown-nosing, Democrat in disguise rhino. But if you want to do right for your country, you will vote for Todd Blanche. Case closed. I'm done with her. All right. Unless they could convince John Fetterman to vote aye, that'd be something else. All right. So next, this is the other piece of breaking news. Like I said, we are not going to get through all this today. I told y'all a couple weeks ago about loose lips sink ships. So this just came out 10 minutes before I walked back down here and sat down. All right. Headline, New York Post. Russia could attack NATO or an allied country as early as this fall, U.S. intelligence warns. Before I go any further, this is advice for the federal government. If you are an office of OPS, okay, Office of Personnel Security, that's what it is, or if you're with the FBI, you need to get off your fourth point of contact, that's your butt, get it out of the chair, and you need to investigate these leaks of people who got security clearances and get them arrested. This is unbelievable. This should never happen. This could cost the lives of my fellow soldiers and millions of civilians. The fact is, regardless if it's true or not, because I don't know if it's true, but here's this article. I've only seen it once, and I printed it off. I mean, the paper is probably still sticking together. Russian President Vladimir Putin may test NATO's alliance's strength with an attack on an allied country as early as fall. I mean, fall starts. When does fall start? September 21st, right? Including a possible land invasion, according to new U.S. intelligence reports. The reports on the potential of a limited assault, which could range from a cyber attack to a military incursion, could come as early as the U.S. deals with a shortage of critical munitions, in which it would need to respond to an attack from Russia or China. An attack is estimated to happen between this fall and 2029, the intelligence assessments warn. Putin's goal of an attack on NATO nation is to force the U.S.'s hand and fracture the 77-year-old alliance. The question mark is how the United States would respond in that case. Heather Nunley, a senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute, told the Journal about the possibility of a Russian incursion. It has always been about the goal of Russia's to challenge the credibility of NATO and to separate the United States from its allies. The U.S. believed Moscow would never provoke the long-standing North Atlantic Treaty Organization while its forces were entangled in a war with Ukraine. However, this year, officials determined Putin may be bold enough at least to test the alliance's resolve. Putin's new openness to a NATO assault comes as he faces immense pressure at home to defeat Ukraine. Russia has been dealing with increasing drone attacks from Kiev on its oil industry, and Putin's forces have suffered heavy casualties and significant slowed at the front. Russia has already been showing it's willing to push NATO with Russian missiles landing in Poland and drones flying over Romania. Uh, Meanwhile, U.S. has severely depleted its stockpile of munitions by arming Ukrainian troops in an ongoing conflict with Iran. Stockpiles at risk are the PRISMs, that's called the Precision Strike Missiles, and ATACMs, the Army Tactical Missile Systems. They're fired from the same launcher, if you didn't know, as well as short range Stinger surface to air missiles. And that's the end of the article. You know what? The amount of prisms and ATACMs we have, along with Sidewinders, along with Patriots, along with Avenger systems, uh, the amount of fuel stockpile we have is all a matter of secrecy. Whoever leaked that report, or if it even was leaked at all, is a course of being it's espionage. They should be arrested and charged with treason to our country. This is what gets people killed. This stuff, whoever released it, either from Langley or from the Pentagon or even from the White House, should be prosecuted. Kovai for Life just jumped in. He said, "I'm not surprised. Only the rich got paid for false info against them." Yeah. Oh, he's talking about the uh, anti-weaponization fund, which should stay in effect because, like he said, only the rich people got reimbursed. All the poor slugs out there that were protesting got arrested and thrown in jail and lost their houses, their jobs, their families were destroyed, and they got nothing out of it in return. Okay? You're exactly right, Ricky. You're exactly right. Back to this deal about the Poland thing. Oh, not Poland, but the Europe thing. You know, uh, if he was to make a move on NATO, that would spark a war. He may be ready because he's got Belarus right there as an ally, and they got a fully supplied army there, right? And they're just looking at the excuse to combine Belarus with Russia to make an even larger Russia, right? We've already seen this week where Kiev cannot defend Ukraine against Russian missiles coming in. They can fire all these missiles they want and drones all they want into Russia and destroy infrastructure, but they're going to run out of offensive missiles too eventually. But they have no defense, and Russia can just send barrage after barrage and destroy the morale of the Ukrainian people to the point where they say, "We give," right? Or to degrade their defenses enough where the Russians can just push through and occupy their entire country. I am so surprised they have not made an attempt on the life of Vladimir Zelensky. That is shocking. Because I would throw everything I had, every chance I got to go after him, I would. Uh, and in terms of attacking a NATO country, the only things I could think of if he was attacked anywhere in NATO would be the Baltic states. That'd be Estonia or Latvia or Lithuania. And to me, I would think it would be, I believe, Lithuania because they got that little enclave of Russian territory on the Baltic Sea and they need a connector's route to get to it. They give them a port where they could actually use. All right. That is the only thing I could see that they would actually attack would be Lithuania. But back to the point where I was talking about, whoever leaked that information is a traitor. And I don't care who they are. Because you put the lives of the United States Army and the rest of the military at risk and the lives of many civilians by talking about that stuff. That is something they should never. I heard Ukraine the other day. They were interviewing Vladimir Zelensky about casualties, And he said, well, the Russians have lost I think he said 1.6 million soldiers, 700,000 of which have been killed in the last 4 years. And then I think it was Brett Barrett said it. He said, well, how about your casualties, Ukrainian casualties? And he said, well, I don't really want to talk about that because it'll let the Russians know where our weaknesses are. But look, you just gave up all the casualty numbers for the Russian military. So if you know theirs, they know yours, so you might as well put it up, right? Well, uh, Zelensky said, well, he finally answered the question. He said, well, we have about 200,000 wounded and 50,000 dead in 4 years. He lied through his teeth. That was pure misinformation. There is no way a defensive army would, and in that case of what's been going on for 4 years, have lost only 50,000 soldiers. If they've lost only 50,000 soldiers, they should have already reoccupied all the lost territory in their country. Or they're just playing a game with the Russians and just playing a game, then causing Russia to attack elsewhere because this is the game to them. They're just throwing troops into the front, which is ridiculous. What we're doing on time, 8:36. If you have any comments about that report about Russia, about contemplating an attack on us or NATO, put something in the chat because I'd like to hear what y'all's ideas are. What that report means to y'all, because it really. I mean, I served almost 25 years in the Army. I would hate for the Russians to know our capabilities and our weaknesses, and to go one step beyond that. When I was in Europe in the 80s, we had to learn how to fire the Patriot missile because I was in Air Defense Command, right? And they had told us that they wanted us available because if there was, how did it go? They had enough Patriots back then to last 96 hours of continuous combat against the Soviets. And then after 96 hours, all missiles would have been expended to that point, and then we would have actually became infantrymen because there would be no other use of our air defense systems, right? So I really hope that report was really wrong because we should be stockpiling munitions to the hilt because we're supposed to be able to fight two wars at one time. That's our national strategy. Or fight and hold or fight and fight. One of the two. Okay? Um, Scott says Putin would be stupid enough to try. Yeah, I mean, what if it's a fake report and he's like, well, you know what? Let me try. And he gets a bloody nose and gets spanked and taken to the pit. That would be awesome. I mean, Scott was in the Navy, and so was Ricky. They're in the chat right now. They understand. They know our Navy is drastically superior than the Russian Navy. They can't hold nothing even close to us. And I'll tell you one thing: the rate of the United States Army compared to the Russian Army. If the Russian Army fights in Ukraine like they would fight against us on the Polish plane or the Lithuanian plane, they would be we would be we would be in Moscow in 24 hours unless it went nuclear. And that's a whole different world there. All right? So, that's our military history lesson for the day, but I really hope if someone actually leaked that information to the press, they're found and arrested and dealt with. All right? Hold on, let me get something to drink and we'll go on to politics. Marsha. Marsha Blackburn won last night on a Thursday primary, not a Tuesday, but a Thursday primary in the state of Tennessee. She defeated her opponent 43-32, and she will be pretty much like shoe-in basis. She will be the next governor of the state of Tennessee. She will be the first woman governor of the state of Tennessee. Great news. She's been a great congresswoman. She's been a great United States senator. And she took nothing off of the attacks that they kept wielding against her, and she won. She always wins. I mean, I wish she was in Texas. That is how good of a politician Marsha Blackburn is, right? The only bad thing is I'll tell you about it in just a second. But yeah, so Marsha Blackburn cruised to victory in the GOP primary Thursday evening in a race to replace term limited Bill Lee. Okay, you can only serve 2 terms as governor in Tennessee. With the nomination in tow, Blackburn is likely to become the next governor of the volunteer state, a state that has elected a Democrat to its top executive since 2006. Lee has served in that role since 2019 is term limited. He last won re-election with 64% of the vote. Wow. Notably, Lee did not endorse anyone in the 3-way race for the nomination, but noted he has a close relationship with Marsha when she announced her candidacy. I've been friends with Marsha for a long time, and she has served as my congressman and representative in the General Assembly, and we are proud that we have really good people running for governor in this state. Blackburn, for her own part, promised to continue focusing on issues that Republicans have made centerpieces to the GOP platform in D.C. She highlighted her immigration as one such issue. As governor, I'll deport illegals, stop the flow of drugs and drug money. We will track down the cartels, restrict the cash transfers to drug havens, and to hit criminals and illegals where it hurts, in their wallets. Blackburn also promised to prevent China from buying Tennessee land, punctuating her commitment with a viral ad where she crushed a fortune cookie. I never saw that commercial. I'm going to go look it up. That is awesome. I love that one. Retired Rob said it's almost breakfast time. Yep, I got 7 minutes, so I got to sign off. So I got to hurry up. So congratulations to Marsha Blackburn. You will make an outstanding governor. Next, the only candidate that was endorsed by Trump that lost last night was Andy Ogles. He's a congressman. He was running for re-election. He lost his bid to Charlie Hatcher, and that is because he did have some ethical issues he was running against. If he's wrong, he's wrong, right? But this one guy, Chris Larson, he's a Democrat. He was a donor to Kamala Harris during her presidential bid. He's a staunch Democrat. He owns I circled the name of it. I thought I did. Well, okay. So he has a super PAC, and he raised $6.4 million this year to run against candidates. Right? He put $2 million into the campaign of Charlie Hatcher, which is a Republican, to run against Andy Ogles, and Charlie Hatcher won. Dirty politics at its finest. He went and funded a Republican, a Democrat, went and funded a Republican's campaign so he can win. That's just like they do here in Texas, because we have open primaries. We got people like, I'm not going to vote in the Democrat primary because we're just going to get beat. So I'll go vote for the other person and get the weaker person to become the next commissioner or state representative in Texas. Uh, Ricky's left for breakfast. Man, I got people bailing on me. Man, I got 5 more minutes to help people. So yeah, Andy Ogles lost because of a Democrat donor, mega donor that took $2 million of his super PAC and sent it to Tennessee to defeat this guy. Okay. All right. Yesterday, Anthony Fauci. Um, Anthony Fauci got referred to the Department of Justice for contempt of Congress and through the Senate Homeland Security Committee by a vote of 8-7. All Democrats voted against it. All the Republicans voted for it. All right. Anthony Fauci, see you in jail. Next, I want to do this one last. Man, I am not going to have time to do all this stuff. Hold on. Voting. More voting. Okay. So we go over these two real quick. In Maryland, the Maryland legislature passed redistricting finally. So they're going to try to make 8 Democrat districts to 0 Republican districts. That's all right if they want, because we did the same thing in Texas, right? But they did one thing wrong, and they'll be taken to court, and they are going to lose because there's a deadline date in Maryland where you cannot pass the 1st of July to do any legislation like that, and it just went through on the 27th of July. They're going to get beat. It's House Bill 2100. A new lawsuit is set to be filed in Maryland, seeks to block a redistricting amendment backed by Democrat Governor Wes Moore from appearing on the November ballot, arguing the state officials advanced the measure to the state's own legislative analysis, concluded that the statutory deadline for certifying ballot questions had already passed. It was July 1st. So, you got to wait. I'm sorry, Maryland. You got an incompetent governor. Well, he faked his Bronze Star in the first place on his Army uniform, even though he was with the 82nd Airborne, but he faked it. He's a stolen valor piece of scum. All right? But I'm glad they lost that one. Temporary protective status in Haiti. In Haiti, federal judge acknowledges the Supreme Court ruling clearing the path for Trump to end Haitian temporary protective services. It's going to clear the way of up to 300,000 Haitians being sent back to the country for an earthquake that happened in 2010. All right? So, thank you to this judge. Which judge? Let's give this judge a little bit of credit. It's Anna Rees, U.S. District Judge Anna Rees is the one that passed that, and it's 350,000 illegals that are be going home. All right, I am out of time. All right, hold on, give me a second here to do the raid over the Bongino, just in case people don't know how to get over to it. Give me a second. I'm pretty quick on the keyboard. Right there. Copy. Do you copy? There. And I'm going to initiate the raid. I will see y'all Monday morning, 6:30 a.m. Central with JP's morning brief. I hope everybody has a great weekend. I'm going to initiate the raid right now. There it goes. I will see y'all. See y'all later, and hopefully we have a peaceful weekend. Confirmed. You got 10 seconds. So this is James Pierce with the JPA report. I will catch you on the flip side. I'm out.